How do I handle open houses in such a way where I'm getting even more business? But guess what? You may not even need to attend the open house to see big results. Hey, I'm Steve Kyles. You're listening to the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast, and I'm glad I could make Carl White smile as we intro this one. This is a good one, brother. How do I do the pesky, like Carl, they keep asking me, do open houses. And I say, okay. And I've got kids and weekends are not good because being away from the family, but how do I do it, Carl?
And you're not resting your engine. That's
Yeah.
probably equally as bad as you can't run 7 days a week, right? It's just not going to happen. So what brought this up is Steve and I were looking on, we were on a Facebook group page, and it's a great page.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know the leader that put it together, and it's for newer loan officers.
Yep.
And they asked some great questions on there. And somebody, actually, we saw like 4 or 5 or 6 different questions about holding open houses. And gosh, how do you say this nicely? Like, of course they didn't get they didn't have the right answer because they're new, right? They don't know, right? And just like Steve, when you and I first got started, heck, we didn't know either, right? And
yep.
it took years to figure some of this stuff, and we're still figuring a lot of stuff out.
Yeah.
So on the open houses, and I think we might have done this episode once, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
And this is worthy of bringing up again, that on the open houses, so let's talk about the pros and cons of doing one.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So the pro is I get to go hang out with an agent.
For sure. And hopefully buyers and some that may be unrepresented and or agents, other agents will come through the open house.
All right. So we got that. So pro, an agent, I'm going to be for a couple hours, give or take. I've got their undivided attention. The con to that is it tends to be lower producing agents. So it tends to be that let's call it, how do we say it? I'm going to use air quotes and say the real agent, right? The real listing agent is not normally the one that sits at the open houses. Typically, it's a newer agent
who's holding the house open for them to get buyers coming through.
Yeah, so they can they're paying their dues, so to speak.
Yep.
So the pro, I get to hang out with an agent for 2 hours. The con is odds are that agent doesn't have any business to refer to you.
Yep.
And while they might be certainly a nice person, I've got enough friends, right? I'm not looking for a new friend. I'm looking for business.
That's it.
And that person may not be able to give me any business. So that's kind of a pro and a con.
Yep.
I get to meet buyers there, and that's true, right? So that would be
a pro. Yeah,
I'd put that as a pro. You go, well, the con, we don't know if they're qualified, and that might be true. But heck, with any lead, we don't know if they're qualified yet. Yeah. So I would say that's 100% of a pro is we get to meet buyers.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, there's an open house 3 streets down, and I'm not meeting the buyers of that one. Right. I'm in one place and I'm meeting the buyers at one open house. And I've been to open houses where I've met a good handful of buyers. And I've been at open houses where we sat there the whole 2 hours
and not one person walked through. Yeah.
And literally played backgammon. Right. I've done that before. And so, the con is I can only meet with so many buyers.
Yeah.
And the other con is the buyers that's attracted to whatever property that agent happens to be selling may or may not be the kind of buyers that I work with. In other words, like, let's say it's a investment area, right? An investment home.
Yeah.
And dude, I saw stats on that. What was it? Dude, this was crazy. What was it? 20, and this is off the top of my head, but it's going to be close. Yeah. I think it was 27% of all homes bought in the last 12 months were bought by investors. One out of 4.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a whole reason for that. That's the appreciation and the market demand. And I mean,
the stock market's down
100%,
and like the whole,
they're
the whole
dumping cash into assets.
Inflation's up and housing tends to hedge off inflation.
That's a big number.
1 out of 4. That's
wow.
I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe 10%, maybe 5. I was
Yeah.
thinking we're done. So 27%. So I thought that was interesting. So anyway, so
They
maybe I'm
may
going
not be
to,
the right buyers.
yeah,
Yeah.
it might be investors, and hey, maybe I specialize in investors. Maybe I don't,
Yeah.
right? So that would be a thing. Uh, so pro, I get to hang out agent buyer. Boy, that's about it. So now let's talk about the cons.
There's lots of them.
Boy,
Hey,
there's a
if
lot of them.
you got family and kids, and
Man,
now
that's you don't need to
literally
say nothing.
a
That's
like
it.
3 hour open house takes you 4 or 5 by the time you get there, pick up food, you clean up, you shut down.
And you know what, Steve? I don't have many regrets in life, brother.
Yeah.
That's one of
Mm,
them. And
yeah.
it's a funny thing, Steve. We hear that all the time from people, like all of us,
Mm, yeah.
all the time from our grandparents or our elders, maybe our parents if they're gotten on in years a little bit. Is man, I wish I'd have worked a little bit less. I wish I'd have worked a little
Mm,
bit less.
mm,
I missed too many birthday parties. I missed too
yeah.
many cheerleading practices. I
Yeah.
missed too many insert in thing with the kids.
Mm,
I didn't go out trick or treating with my kids because I was insert in thing. I got home late from the office that day, and so for me, that open houses typically are on Saturdays and Sundays.
yeah.
That's a hard stop for me. Like that's not
Yeah.
going to happen. It's just not
Yeah.
going to happen. But again, I do the activity Monday through, in my case, Monday through Thursday. For many people, Monday through Friday. I do the activity required that I've earned the right to take the weekend off because I have enough good prospecting during Monday through Thursday that I don't have. The only reason people have to do open houses on weekends is they didn't prospect Monday through Thursday.
They don't have
Right?
enough business. They're
Yeah, they
trying to
don't have
drum
enough
up
business. If you
business.
don't have
Yeah.
enough business, it's one reason only. You didn't do
Yeah.
enough prospecting.
Yeah.
It's like, well, nobody's buying. That's not true. Nobody's buying. Everybody's paying cash. That's not true. If you
Yeah.
go look in the records in your county, my suspicion is for the vast majority of us, there were thousands of transactions in your county this last month. Even if you're in small areas, like I'm thinking of my longtime friend Jen. Uh, Typically, I think in her county, they'll have like 100 transactions a month in her county.
Yeah.
Uh, Hell, half of those would be 50. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. So there's plenty of transactions going. We're just not prospecting.
That's it.
And if
That's
we're
it.
prospecting, if your business is down, there's only one reason. It's not inventory, it's not interest rates, it's your prospecting. The market
Mm,
never decides the market never decides your success. Your activities do. And
mm,
so the only reason why, and I'm using air quotes here, you or some of you feel the desperate need to do open house on the weekends is because you're not prospecting Monday through Thursday.
mm.
If you prospected Monday through Thursday, the open house thing would be totally unnecessary. So I have found them to be completely inefficient.
Yeah.
And so what I have found to be best is a little thing, and I think I'm the one that actually came up with this, Steve.
I
I
think it's great. This is a
I've borrowed a
free.
lot of. I'd love to
Yeah.
give the credit to whoever it was, but this might be one of those rare things that I came up with.
I love
That
it.
what I do is on Thursday,
Yeah.
I find agents as having open houses over the weekends, and I give them this little form, and on the form it has open house sign in sheet, your chance to win $25 Home Depot gift certificate.
Yeah.
And then I have name, phone number, email address.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. And so I send that out to my real estate agents on Thursday, and I tell them and if they're local, I run by a little $25 gift certificate for them, not for them, but for them to hand out or to have a drawing at the open house
Yeah.
or people that came through, they're gonna draw a winner, right? And so you get all the people that sign in, which is an opt-in, and then you're doing what's called an ethical bribe, where everybody that signs in at the end of the open house,
Has an
you know,
opportunity to win
I don't
something.
know,
Yeah.
put our hands over our eyes, or the agent is, and get a pen and drop it on the paper somewhere, and whoever that is, they won the $25.
Yeah.
So I give that out to them on Thursdays, and I tell them when you finish open house on Saturday or Sunday, just take a picture of it and email it over to me or text it, however they want to send it. And on Monday morning, when I'm back in the office, I'm going to hit that list while you do your follow up, Realtor Steve. I'm going to also follow up on that list.
Yeah.
And the advantage of doing that way, Steve, is now I handed that thing out to say 8 different referral partners or real estate agents doing open houses. Some I've worked with in the past and some I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Totally cool.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say the average one has 10 sign-ins. Now I don't have 10 people to follow up on by working
Yeah.
3 hours on Saturday. I've got 80. I've got 80. And last I've checked, 80 will outpull 8. Oh, I don't know, 10 to 1, you know?
And you didn't have to show up.
And I didn't work on the weekends. Right.
Yeah, you
And
gave
I
up a
find
few
that to
dollars,
be,
but
yeah,
man,
I find that to be very, very, very successful. So that's worked out for me really, really well. So the question comes back, it's always that wonderful um, question that smart people ask is how do I blank without blank?
without, yeah.
How
How
do
do
I
I
something
yay
good
without the boo?
without the bad?
Yeah.
So how do I do open houses without
Mm,
working Saturdays and Sundays?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that has worked out for me just fantastic. And it's also been a great icebreaker to meet with new referral partners and say, hey, I see here there's this website you can go to, and it's sponsored by the local newspaper,
Yeah.
and it's got I don't know if all of them, but it's got a lot of open houses on there. And I
Yeah.
just look at open houses, look at the agent. I look to see if the agent's qualified. I look on my list. They're a qualified agent. They're doing at least 8 buy sides or more in the last 12 months. I look at the house. That's the kind of houses I do my lending on. So, like, I'm not a real big jumbo guy. So if it's a house on the water going for $6.2 million,
Probably
hey,
not gonna be a good fit.
for
Yeah.
not for me, maybe for you, and maybe for the next person,
Yeah.
but not for me. Or maybe it's a non-warrantable condo,
Yeah.
and for you that might be a great source. For me, maybe it's not. And so I look to see, and I can kind of cherry pick on
Mm,
which
yeah.
ones I'm going to do. For me, I'm looking for that, $400,000-$500,000 3 bedroom, 2 bath that looks just like every other house on the corner. And it's in
Mm-hmm.
just, it's a neighborhood of Jane and John Doe, so
That's
to
it.
speak, or
That's
John
it.
and John Doe and Jane Doe, whatever. I'm just looking for just average houses, average neighborhoods, average working people. But for me, that's my market. But I can pick and choose now. And there's hundreds of open houses being held, at least in
Yeah.
my county this weekend. And so I just pick and choose who I want. I look first as the agent who I want, is a
Yep.
property what I want, and then I call them up, and we have a very high success ratio of getting these agents to do our open house because they enjoy
Why
the
not?
$20,000,
Yeah. They'll
and they
take
know
the
that
hit.
I'm going to follow up on them.
That's huge. What I mean,
Yeah.
and what a great, I mean, that's a value add for the agent. And I love the opportunity to get even more leads without doing consumer direct. It's such a great strategy, easy, low cost, low time commitment, and your follow-ups are on Monday. Agents love it.
And dude, if you're talking like a $25 gift certificate, which by the way, I've tested different price points on the gift certificate, and I
Yeah.
found out higher price gives zero extra results.
Mm,
That you'd think, well, why would people do it for $25? They buy Cracker Jacks to get a penny prize on the inside, right? So it just works, right? And it
yeah.
doesn't have to be
$100,
$100
150.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
$50. The 25 pulled equally as well as anything else. So if I get 10 people to sign that thing, that's $2.50 a lead. Man, that's pretty good.
That's a good
Right.
opt-in. That's a
That's a
really good
that's it.
opt-in.
And we find generally the people that come to the open houses, they're one of or just a couple people.
Yeah.
They're either a buyer,
Yep.
right? So that's a good hit. They're a nosy neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Want to know what the no, and I say that,
Tongue in
affectionately.
cheek. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's
But
it's a
they want to
neighbor.
see the house. They want to see what it's worth. Maybe their house is worth
Really
it.
what they want to know is I'm in the same neighborhood.
Yeah,
If your house is worth this, let me compare it to mine must be worth X.
yeah,
So when we're doing that call up, I love the nosy neighbors because that gives me opportunity to refer possible listings
yes.
to
Back to
the
the
to the
agent.
back to the
Huh.
agent, and I say, hey, well, nosy neighbor, not that, but I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
hey, Jane Doe, Jane says, oh, no, I just live down the street. Oh, awesome. Hey, well, look, if you're, probably the reason why you went there is you want to know what your house is worth. And
That's
so
right.
why don't I just have realtor Steve give you a call? Call. He can tell you not just what this house is going for, but other houses in the neighborhood to give
Hmm.
you maybe if you're looking to sell yours, maybe give you some free suggestions
Yeah.
on tips for fast movement. And so,
Yeah.
with your permission, I'm going to give Steve your phone number. You can expect a call with him, here in just a little bit. I'll call him right now. And man, it was great talking to you. Hey, just one more thing, nosy neighbor Steve. Any suggestions that you would recommend, perhaps at the seller? Anything that you think they could do even better? Anything that you kind of was amiss on, just as and this is anonymous. We're not going to tell them you said that, but just to help them out a little bit. Any feedback? People love giving opinions. Right?
Well,
People
that's
love
super
giving
smart,
opinions.
man.
Yeah.
Super smart.
Mhm. Yeah. And so, and by the way, I don't ask them if I can give their number to the referring agent. I say, here's what I'm going to do.
I'm going to
I'm going to
have
do this.
agent
And
so
then
and so
before they
call
can
you.
object to it, I go, oh, and one more thing, any suggestions that you would have about the house?
Yeah.
And now they're so tied up. I want to give my opinion. I want to give my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh, it's
That they're
so
not going to, well,
good.
don't have Steve call me because I don't want to give my opinion. And I don't
Yeah.
want him, I don't want, they're going to welcome that call. So
Wow.
little sneaky trick.
That is a sneaky
So
trick. I like it. Man, what a great strategy. And this is something, the open houses are prolific right now. They're everywhere.
they are.
So,
Mhm.
man, great
Yeah.
strategy, relationship builder, keeps you off of doing it over the weekend, getting great leads coming through on Monday and adding value to agent partners and potential new partners. So,
So,
great strategy.
so Steve, this is one idea. If I
Yeah.
want some yet even more ideas, what would I do?
Man, great. Hey, that's a great question. Go to freedomplanningcall.com, freedomplanningcall.com. We'd love to walk you through this in even more detail. We've got the scripts around it to help build the confidence for you to take action today. And if you say, hey, if this is just one, what else you got? We'd love to show you. Freedomplanningcall.com. Myself, Carl, Kristen, Frank, one of the team members, we'll jump on a call, invest 45 minutes, give you strategies to help you have your best month ever. I'll tell you, it's been exciting to see our membership, our Freedom Club members over the last 5 months have seen a 22.9% increase in their business when statistically most loan officers are down over 38%. And we'd love to show you. We've got the plan. We've got strategies just like this that work. They don't cost money. They cost investing your time to learn the strategy to execute immediately and see big results. So freedomplanningcall.com. Carl, great episode. Great strategy, man. I love it.
Hey, and by the way, when you go to that freedomplanningcall.com, when you go there, if you ask them, say, hey, any chance I could get a copy of Carl's sign-in sheet? I'll give it to you. All right, you can have
Yeah.
mine. You might need to. If I remember right, it's got my logo on it, so you need to kind of white it out or what. But you've got my permission to just totally swipe it all together. And I think on the bottom of it, it has what number for the agents to text it to. So you can just leave that number there, and they'll text all the leads over. No, no.
Carl's gonna
Don't
get all these
change a
texts
thing on
like,
the
what?
form. Leave the form exactly how it is. No, I'm just kidding, of course.
Hey,
But
that's a
yeah,
cool act. So
yeah.
freedomplanningcall.com. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them you want a copy of the form. They'll be happy to give it to you.
Open house sign-in sheet. So, all right, man, great episode. Remember this: anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.